That's right.
Greatness.
That's right.
That's what
I may have used the wrong word, okay, but I'm gonna change that up because I'm not getting ready to get checked again this week.
Hey Mo, hey Gina, we gonna leave Greg alone.
No, Rachel, it's been a week, but it's been an eye-opening week, okay? Because I said some things Monday, and I got severely checked on it. And oh no, it was.
Yeah, he messed up real bad.
What the hell?
I know. He's don't use that one, Mo. We talking about Jesus, and you bringing the devil in. We done playing church music, and then we hear. Wait a minute.
He trying to be Melvin. He trying to be Melvin Franklin up in the joint, man. But Rachel, what's going on? Okay, we did ask the question.
All right.
Will $1 million sustain you for 5 years? Now, my answer was no. I mean, and the reason I said no, I was corrected because it depends on the person and what they're doing. Okay, but
exactly.
$1 million is not what it's not what it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 15 years ago. It's not the same. It doesn't hold the same value. So explain that, or maybe if you want to hear from the rest of them first before you talk about it.
Oh, absolutely. I want to hear if you had $1 million, would you be able to sustain for 5 years? There's a reason why we want to talk about it.
Gina said yes.
Absolutely. Come on,
Gina.
Gina
said she would flip it, smack it, and rub it down. Okay, she'll make sure that it will go past 5 years.
Oh
okay, and Gina, break down what you would do with $1 million and why it would last longer than 5 years.
Oh, I'm definitely going to invest the majority of that. Real estate. I'm going to make it grow. It's going to be in some investments. I might even get a few bonds like I have had in the past. It's not going to be spent like that because one thing about it that people don't understand, when they hit the lottery, they get a large sum of money. Most of the time people want to go out and they want to spend. By the time they go out and spend and they look up, the money is gone. You need to sit it somewhere and wait and think about how you're going to spend that money or invest it or whatever you're going to do. You need to sit down first and wait, and because your mind is going to say, go get this. I need a new car. I want this. I want that. And you're going to spend it. That's not the right thing to do. You need to sit down, let it gain some money somewhere, sit down and think about how to spend that money the correct way.
And before you say anything, Rachel, I agree with that, Jennifer, because I thought you was going to leave it open-ended like that, okay? Because a lot of people will spend this money, like you said, frivolously, put it in some liquid assets or whatever, okay, and then it's gone, all right?
Liquid assets? What you talking about? Wait, which liquid assets you talking about?
Anything, the shoot, a trip to Bermuda,
tequila.
Some shit you don't even need. Okay, I'm just saying. And you just put it out. You, like Gina said, you start spending it on stuff. All right, period. And in a minute, it's gone. And again, if you basing it on now to back then, okay, back then I could say yeah, okay. Right now, okay, I got $1 million. I'm scared though. I'm watching man. Look, I'm watching.
Man, you better do like Elon Musk did with his money.
I can't do like him.
Why not?
Huh?
Why not?
I don't know.
Elon Musk he doesn't get paid. Everything that he get from Tesla, it goes into stocks. And so he's never taxed.
But what if the stock market?
And then he takes out a loan. He takes out a loan.
Borrows.
And he borrows against that stock. That's why people don't understand that. That's why his money is steadily growing.
Well, that's him and the Amazon.
And Rachel.
Same thing.
Bezos.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos, they billionaires for a reason.
You need to take a page out of their book. Listen, when you talk about taking $1 million and what you should do with it, you take a page out their book. People may not like Musk and Bezos, but they are very smart businessmen.
Oh,
very smart.
Look, I'm gonna tell you, I got a huge book. I'm gonna share it with you guys one day with a bunch of businessmen who did a bunch of stuff to sustain their wealth. Okay, but that's another story. Rachel, I also want you when you're explaining, I want you to ask. I want to answer. You know what an infinite bank is?
Yes.
Okay, I need you to explain that to people too, because infinite bank you can save you
talked
can make some
about
money
that
off that
before.
too.
Yeah.
This
We talked about that before.
okay, well maybe I'm old.
Go ahead, tell me about
I
the
brought it to the show.
Go ahead,
But
tell me about
it's a
it,
good
you know,
good reminder. It's
This
a
is
good
the-
reminder.
This is the CEO nugget. So CEO, I asked you in the midst of you explaining about this $1 million, please put the infinite bank in there because I really go ahead.
You said go ahead. So now let me explain where the $1 million came from. Where the thought of $1 million for 5 years, where did the question even come from? Because someone was having a conversation that millionaires stay millionaires because they're taking from the little people and using that money. Now, this is why I was having a conversation about if you had $1 million today, would you be able to maintain for 5 years? Now, let's dive into that a little bit. So what I'm speaking about $1 million is, are you looking at money as currency or are you looking at money like current? Very similar to what Gina was just discussing about investing in real estate. The first thing we have to do is get knowledgeable about what money really is. And about at the end of the day, money is really a current of energy. Where you put it is what it does. So if you're looking for money to grow and make babies, you have to be knowledgeable about what makes money. So we talked about a couple of things. We talked about Elon Musk using his stock options and selling his and borrowing from his stock, and the same thing you can do with real estate. You put money in real estate and you can take out equity from your house as cash. You don't pay taxes on that money, but you are able to utilize that money to buy more property. And if you are a smart investor, you utilize that money to buy other properties and rehab and grow. All of it really is about, are you thinking about money in a way that allows you to decide to make it grow? That's what the point was. Because if we're thinking about money as $1 million is all I got, as opposed to $1 million is a catapult to what I could have. So it was actually thinking about the money from a point of energy. Gina, she nailed it where she was talking about investing, stocks, some bonds, and then where they were talking about Bezos and all of those people. But Greg, he touched on something that was a little more in the wheelhouse of things I like to talk about. And the strategy about infinite banking is about structuring to have high cash value, whole life insurance policies. People talk about universal life and those and these policies and how you drop money into it and you get money out of it.
Right.
It is definitely an instrument.
Cash vehicle. Yep.
It's definitely an instrument. And a little bit about it is that the money isn't taxed, but you're already using tax dollars.
Exactly.
So I think that what we really don't understand is that our money is taxed before we get it, and then we're taxed on every purchase that we make.
Right.
And this is the thing that as a business owner, as opposed to an employee. Now, as a business owner, I pay taxes on the money I still keep.
Right.
Now, let's talk about the difference. As an employee, you're taxed on the money you made. So let's say I made $100,000 this year, but my expenses were $70,000. I'm only taxed on 30. You get $100,000. You're taxed at $100,000, which means you only take home 65. Now, did you hear the difference? I was able to utilize $80,000, $70,000 of money before I ever was taxed for anything. So that's the difference. So the difference in understanding money being current and money being stagnant. So that was what it was really all about, well, could you maintain? But maintaining means having an understanding about a financial instrument and what it can be done. And stocks, bonds are financial instruments. They're current. So you're giving a paper current for another paper current, an electronic current. Like my grandfather, he gave us bonds when we were kids. We all had a $500 bond in like AT&T, I believe.
Ooh, Bell. It was Bell then.
It was Southern Bell.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a $500 bond. All of us, the first 5 grandkids, had a $500 bond.
Man.
My bond has been in a trust ever since.
So you ain't touched it?
Ever.
Ooh. Lord have mercy.
So I've had the bond since I was a baby. When I was born, we got the bond. My grandmother had the bond. She gave it to me. We put it in a trust.
Just leave it.
I've never touched it. So now let's be transparent here. A $500 worth of stock. I will be 50 in 5 days.
5 days.
The stock was before I was born.
$2.
Southern Bell. This is just being transparent, guys. The $500 stock is worth $6.7 million.
I was going to say that went up and split like 90 times, been sold and cut up and divided. And
yeah, the $500 stock of the bond became $1,000. I mean, $1,000 stocks.
uh-huh.
So it went for 1,000%. Then that's been split 20 times in my life.
Lord have mercy. Mm-hmm.
So the bond itself was worth, the last time I looked, at $6.7 million. I'm never going to touch that bond. It's been in the trust since I was 18.
Is that a golden parachute? So when you get out, you just feel like you want to jump out the plane. Poof! I'm done.
No. It's set up in a way that I can never take the money out.
Mm-hmm.
It's set up for
Rachel writes to check the bank balances.
But
but I'm trying to get there.
But you can also borrow against it.
Correct. What you can do is that so this is when I started finding out more about wealth growth. And that was in my 25, between 25 and 40. I started doing a lot of research on understanding how wealth was created. I read a lot of books. I did a lot of research on Warren Buffett. You guys hear me talk about Warren Buffett a lot because Warren Buffett doesn't buy companies. I mean, he understands business, companies' business. So all these different companies he owns, he knows business. What Warren Buffett is good at is understanding companies and companies' growth.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I like what Chris said. You can bank trade with a bond. Correct. So right now I can at any point in time, but it's set up for 2 generations to be able to have the money. It was always set up that way. And I didn't even have kids when my grandmother and I talked about it. So it was always set up because I felt that my grandfather invested in us. Like the first 5 grandkids got it. So I have 4 other cousins who got the bond. I don't know what they did with theirs, but I do know this for certain that that's what I did with mine.
But you know that's how the Rockefellers' money grew. You know that's why their generations and generations are still rich.
Insurance is what Rockefeller became wealthy. The Rockefeller family became wealthy over. Every child that was born in the Rockefellers got a $100 million policy upon birth, and upon death, upon birth they get a $100 million policy. That $100 million policy goes directly into the trust. Upon their death, all the money, all the death benefits go into the trust. They get a stipend from it. So every time a person dies, it goes into the trust. Now, do they have other money? Absolutely, but that's where that was his formula. I paid a lot of attention. We all talk about the 1%, but we all want to be the 1%. We all wish we could have the money and the pull they have, but we shun them as opposed to learning from them.
That's true.
I'm gonna tell you, Rachel.
I don't shun anybody. I want to know everything they know.
I did well for myself, and I told my son, you can trust that you're gonna have to work for your shit because you ain't getting mine. Okay, so that's
But you know what? It's funny that you talk about that because we don't have families doing that. My mother set us up with CDs. We had certificates of deposits when we were young, but we were able to access them when we got 18.
right.
And I
21.
I used mine a few times to borrow. I borrowed it to buy a car. I borrowed it to buy my first house. So, but that was generational wealth that our parents were setting us up for. Now I don't hear a lot of that. I don't see a lot of that. What percentage of us that actually still set their children and their grandchildren and so on generations up like that?
Because it used to be a thing, though. You know, it used to be a
I was
thing.
going to say that, Mo, because you know what? I've noticed that it's been lost in time. And I apologize, generation. What generation are we? Because I don't keep up with that. I'm sorry about that. I don't keep up.
I don't
with
either.
Baby
We
boomers.
the baby boomers, right?
We're
We the baby
boomers.
What's
boomers.
after
I
baby
think.
boomers?
Yeah.
What's after baby boomers?
16.
Generation X.
So I guess we're
I
Generation
don't
X. My mother was a baby boomer. So Generation X. I get whatever we are. So this generation, a lot of us we stopped listening to the elders and their conversation. Because we have to understand that Black people were always resilient. And they always were figuring out a way to give something for their kids. We've lost sight of that. Now, I had a grandparent who talked about it. I had a grandparent who told me about when she had land, when the land, she was the only child of a how do I want to say it? Of a plantation owner, we'll go that route, of a plantation owner in Huntsville, Alabama. The land in which that she owned is now owned by Boeing. That land was leased to Boeing, not given to Boeing, but upon her passing, she could not pass it on. But it was really because she didn't have an understanding of the contract she signed. That upon her death, that her
Boeing just screwed her over. Then
it wasn't Boeing. It was really the state, because she loaned the land was leased to the state, and the state leased the land to Boeing.
Forever contract.
Yeah, because they own the family owned, like if I remember, it was like 18,000 acres of land. They owned the state.
Oh, you know, back then, you know, my grandfather lost his land like that. They had land. They had land upon land, and my grandfather had a whole lot of land.
Absolutely.
And my aunt, my mom's aunt, my great aunt, sold it, and the guy who bought it wrote her a bad check.
Oh,
the check bounced.
But she already signed the
had
paper.
already signed. Yes. So he ended up getting our grandfather's land free of charge.
Dirty dog.
But you know what? As we're having this conversation, we're understanding the reason why we are the generational wealth has changed.
So Chris says the Rockefeller did the waterfall effect, and the Vanderbilts lost their money by not doing what the Rockefellers did.
Absolutely, because what Vanderbilt did, he did not. He gave all his money to one heir. That one heir ended up fighting with the other heirs and having to give them money. So Vanderbilt, he was very controlling of his funds and wanted to give all of his funds to one son. He felt that one person should control all of the money, and that's how his assets would multiply. But his son was not as business savvy as was not as business savvy. Well, he's more business savvy, but he was more greedy. Right. So that was a generation that was building. The next generation felt more entitled and was not building for the generations to come. Because some of the Vanderbilts, a lot of them died poor. So there was a lot of them who died poor. So, but Rockefeller was one of the people who did not. There's a lot of black multimillionaires and there were billionaires during those times as well. So there's a lady named Mary who she became one of the first. Now we all hear about Madam C.J. Walker becoming the first black millionaire. She was that. That's not totally true. There were
Well.
millionaires who had land, who had when the United States gave away land to the Native Americans. How deep do I want to go? Let's go a little deep. Crystal, hit me with it.
Let's go.
When land was being given, there was land given to black people back then. So there were certain black families who capitalized on having the 100 acres of land. There was a family, her name is Shirley, I cannot remember her last name right now. They would shut down stores because black people still were not allowed to come in the front door, but they were so wealthy that they shut down stores. What does he got? Eminent domain. Yeah, the government has the ability to take any land.
Yeah.
That's what eminent domain
Yeah,
is.
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, all they have to do is say that they're using it for a certain purpose, and they can take your land. They can do that anywhere at any time. But that's not what they did for my grandmother. Actually, she signed over her land. She signed it over where she would get money for life, but her family could not. So she was taking care of her whole life, but she was not taking care of. She could not take care of she could not pass that wealth on. So it was just a bad deal because she didn't read it completely, didn't get a correct lawyer. She wasn't as business savvy, whatever that happened to be. But the whole point is that there have been wealthy black people for a long time. Those stories are not the stories that we're told. We're told about us all being slaves. It could have never been there could have never been a Black Wall Street if we were all poor. There could never have been where we had the financial means at any point in time where we had our own bus lines, our own hospitals, and all of those things. We could have never had those things if we were always poor.
That's right.
But you know what?
Right.
If everybody on this panel and everybody that's listening, if you really dig into your roots, you will find a lot of land and a lot of property that were taken from your ancestors. There are families that fought to get theirs back, and they have. There was a family in California who fought. They took that beach. I think it was called Bruce Beach.
I thought it was Georgia.
No, this was in California.
Okay.
This was in California, and they fought to get their beach back. They had to fight. They had to fight the government because the government say that's their property. Beaches and parks, they got their beach back.
Yeah.
But the one thing they did, they turned around and they sold it back to the state.
Because
Once they got it, they sold it back to the state.
They were looking for the money. They weren't looking for the legacy.
I would have never done that.
But because some people just like, as I said, it goes to, are we looking for current or currency? Who you got?
Yeah, I would have never done that. My family would have had homes on that beach. They could have put up some condos on that beach to have money coming in. I would have never done that.
Put some strip clubs up there, man.
I mean, even if they had
Did you say strip clubs?
Some strip clubs.
He said script. He said script
That's
clubs.
strip clubs.
but it really goes into, I mean, the whole point, like I said, the point of the question is for us to actually start thinking. And when you put thought behind it, you really realize that a lot of information that we're utilizing to start building wealth, it comes from the fact of that we're looking as a appearance of wealth as opposed to an actual attitude of wealth. Mm-hmm. And that's what I touch on that deeply in my book, Freedom Has GPS, because it talks more about having a mental mindset. So the mindset that you need to have wealth. You have to, the sacrifice that we're talking about making. Some people will say we're going to save our way to wealth. Yeah and no.
No
yeah
and no.
No.
You can save the money to put it into something bigger. But if we're talking about saving it under my mattress, that's not going to make me anymore.
And not in the bank either.
No, because you lose, because money is devalued. Money, the currency is just, it's not what it used to be.
They take your money and invest it. They take your money
that's how
and
banks,
invest it.
I said this, the banking system, how they make money, for every dollar you put in, they get $10 for it.
Yep.
That's how they're able to lend. Banks are given a lend against the funds they have in their bank.
You
What's
want
so
to buy it?
crazy?
Come on, no problem.
What's
You
so
already
crazy
paid
is
for it
they'll
anyway.
lend you your own money back to you when you
Yeah.
go buy a house.
Okay,
Exactly.
we gotta get out of here though, y'all. Rachel,
Yes.
look,
Brewster's Beach in
definitely-
that's it, Chris. They
Called
got their
Brewster's
land
Beach in
back.
Manhattan,
They fought,
California.
but they had to fight for it.
Okay, we're gonna
could
fight.
look
We're gonna
and
fight to get
for
off the air.
ours.
We're gonna fight to get off.
Listen, this should have been an hour-long show.
It should have been. Rachel should have
This
came on
should have been
earlier.
an hour-long show because
We
30
could-
minutes was
Rachel-
not enough.
Rachel, can you come back on a Wednesday and have Thursday as well, and we can talk about this?
Never on a Wednesday. Wednesday's my wake up CEO day. Thursday, I can't starting at 7:00 though. Is that fine?
You heard it.
So let's make sure that we get this conversation finished. We're gonna finally get a conversation finished, okay, for real, on the CEO Nuggets Day. All right, but Rachel, we got to get out of here. Okay,
make sure you keep a note of what Shantavia said. The government cannot take your land if your ancestors are buried on the land, and you know that is legal to bury your loved one on your land. You actually can do that. So I want to talk about that.
I think Texas has.
We'll make a note of that.
We'll
do that. Okay, Rachel. I'm sorry, Mo. What you say?
Texas has a law, something like that. You can't do that.
Okay.
Because they deal with a lot of under the dirt kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Oil, all kind of minerals and stuff. So you don't really own your land in Texas. You lease it. you just put your plot on it.
CEO, give us your final word.
Guys, this is always a great conversation when I'm here with the National Black Radio Hall of Fame inductees. And today was not any different. I want you guys to stay focused on how you're going to get that, how you're going to utilize that $1 million. So spend some time thinking and figuring out, if you had $1 million, what would you do to make that $1 million more money? I know it sounds far-fetched, but $1 million is only a couple of decisions away. So I want you guys to stay focused on your growth. Stay focused on being in a current of energy and moving forward and moving and growing. And until next week, right here on the Dope Living TV with the National Black Radio Hall of Fame inductees, I want you guys to be up, out, and moving to the greatness we all know lies within who?
You, baby.
See you next week, right here.
Hey, it's Black. I'm still going to put the Black on it. Black Women History Month. Okay, she creates history every day. So thank you for coming on and being a part of this month as well. Okay, Mo, what you got?
I got some homework to do. I'm gonna come back with some fire next week.
Yeah, fire every week, Mo.
Make sure you press the right.
I'm gonna come back with a blaze next week, huh?
Make sure you press the right buttons. All right.
Yeah, because I got to get used to that. I got to get in there and get operating around, and I'll master that bad boy if I get a chance to use it.
But
I'm not going out like that no more.
Don't just throw it on when we're talking. Okay, just don't throw it on. Just let us know. Hey, all right. Tuesday again. Oh, I'm sorry, Gina. Go ahead.
Listen, yeah, I've been kicked off of better places than this. No, I'm just kidding.
I wasn't kicking you off. Never. I could never look. If Gina leaves, that'll be the last day of Dope Living TV Live. I'm sorry.
No, listen, it's nothing. The best thing to do is to research finances. They don't teach it in school. My mom and dad taught us finances. Teach yourself, learn the things. It's so much information out here that you can get your hands on. Learn about finances. If you don't do it, then that's on you.
That's on you. Hey, real quick, man, before we get out of here, D-Stark Show coming up right after we are, okay?
Ooh, yes,
they're speaking out bullying in schools, okay? Who failed Jada West? Did the schools ignore the warnings? Should those kids face charges? Are parents also to blame? This young lady, Jada West, was, I think she was bullied and beaten and lost her life because of being bullied. This D-Stark Show is going to examine that, and y'all tune in.
And the parents are actually going to be on the show.
Exactly.
The parents are actually going to be on.
I'm going to tune in, all right? And don't forget, okay, next week I'm really going to push it, okay? The Relationship Roundtable Live, Saturday, March the 21st is coming up, all right? Early bird, $5, $10 at the door. Y'all come through, talk about anything that you want to talk about, relationships. Also, Distinguished Authors Guild, In Search of Excellence. And all of you guys are excellent, okay? But we're in search of the best of the best. Let's put it like that. The best
Get
of the
those
best.
books.
Get those books in, all right? And also shout out to D&K for always representing out there, all right?
Hey.
They got some
Come on out tomorrow
business.
night, you guys. It's gonna be
Yeah.
awesome. Step and
If you're
set.
into Gary,
You learn how to step, the step and
see,
lessons.
Gina talks like
and
everybody
Midwest.
from Gary, okay? But everybody ain't from Gary. But if you in Arizona, you wanna come
3669 Broadway.
if you in Arizona, you want to come through, get that plane ticket tonight, all right? Make sure you get that plane ticket tonight. Come on through.
Yeah, that is a long line.
3669 Broadway.
Get here. What the hell was that?
Come on.
Changed it up, okay? But
Listen,
anyway,
oh,
man.
Make sure you guys know that we will be raffling off a webcam. So come out, get you a meal, get you a raffle ticket, and you could possibly win this webcam. This is a nice webcam. This is $100 value. So come out.
Let me just buy it
Nice.
for her.
Nice.
Just buy
Okay.
it for her.
Nice. It is a
But anyway,
nice
man,
book.
I don't have
I like
anything
that.
extra to say, okay? But y'all enjoy your weekend. Pretty soon, when Gina get ready, okay? Peace and Power: The Black Man's Guide to Balancing Life, Love, and
Peace and
Business. This is
power.
like it's like an autobiography that I wrote. It's a flip book, but it's just my keys to having peace
I
and
don't
power.
consider it
It may
an
not be you.
autobiography.
I mean, well, you're the author. I'm just telling
It's
you, this
more of a
self-help.
it's informational, more so than autobiography. Autobiography, you talk about yourself.
Well,
It's
these are
more
the things
about
that I
your
did.
story.
These are the things.
Yeah,
that I
but
did.
it's not the same. It's more of an informational book than an autobiography.
I'm not gonna argue with you. You know better than I do. I just put it out there so that you can leave me alone. And I finally wrote my book, so I'm
I ain't gonna
I'm
leave you
done, though.
alone, no.
we
But
gonna,
you gotta
we
do
gonna
something
push
with
it out
it.
there. We're gonna do something. We're gonna do something. Most definitely gonna do something. But you guys, this is our Friday, so y'all enjoy the weekend. Y'all have a great weekend. Y'all might see us anywhere on the weekend. Okay, ain't no telling where. Okay, so when you see us, show us some love. You know, we you know, Mo is out there in Tennessee. Me and Gina, we buy everything
Nice
from
to meet
everybody.
Mo.
We buy everything. Me and Gina, we buy everything from everybody. So if you see us, okay, this is your chance. You can get some money from us for real. All right. But you know, do your thing, handle your business, and make sure that you stay intentional and hold yourselves accountable for every single thing that you do, good or bad. All right. It's Dope Living TV Live, man. We will see you guys Monday. All right.
Peace.
This is Jordan Gray
Wrong one.
from Half Lit and Dope Living TV.
Yo, this is Tony Terry, and you're watching Dope Living TV.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is your boy Jason Weaver, and whenever I'm back.
Weather in the house.
Let's do it again.
Weather in the house or outside. You know that we gon' do it. Make a wrong decision, turn around and still get through it. When you say the name, you know it's us and what we doing. So turn it on and let the bass get booming. Hey, yeah. Dope Living TV. Dope Living TV. Dope Living TV. Dope Living TV. Yeah. We got it all. Come and see. Yeah. Dope Living TV.